Every Straw Hat besides Zoro has a clear arc where they join the crew and become loyal to Luffy. Usually it's in their introduction arc where we get a flashback explaining their past and why joining the Straw Hats will complete their story. For characters like Robin and Nami, they start as this loyal in their introductory arcs, but once we get to their rescue arc and we get their full flashback, they become fully loyal members like the rest of the crew. Now Sanji got an extra flashback and a rescue arc on top of that, and Jinbei was always loyal to Luffy even before his dedicated arcs, but the pattern remains the same. You can typically point out the arc where every Straw Hat becomes loyal to Luffy. Every Straw Hat except for Zoro. We got Zoro's introduction in flashback in the very first arc of the series, but when he joins Luffy, he makes it very clear that his dream of being the world's strongest swordsman comes first. So Zoro putting Luffy's dream ahead of his own in Thriller Bark completes his character arc and cements him as a loyal Straw Hat. But the problem for me is how long it takes for this character moment to be paid off. By the time Zoro sacrificed himself in Thriller Bark, the Straw Hats have already faced death together in Alabasta, Skypiea, and Enies Lobby. Zoro even steps up and acts as a vice captain at times, leading the crew into battle when Luffy isn't around, but also guiding him on the proper way to be a captain. So there was no doubt in my mind that Zoro was a loyal Straw Hat by the time we got to the Thriller Bark arc. And I think the uncertainty of allegiance is what makes this type of character sacrifice so interesting in the first place. Take Piccolo's arc at the start of Dragon Ball Z for example. Piccolo was the villain of the previous arc until Raditz came around, so he formed a temporary alliance with Goku to defeat him. But with the arrival of 2 more Saiyans, Piccolo extended his alliance with the Z Fighters and even trained Gohan to prepare him for the fight. Piccolo still had his villainous ambitions, and his alliance was supposed to be temporary, which is why it was so surprising when he sacrificed himself to save Gohan. Piccolo's sacrifice was so impactful because we weren't sure if he was a good person until that very moment. In fact, Piccolo's sacrifice wasn't because he was redeemed. He was redeemed because of his sacrifice. The sacrifice is what redeemed him. Piccolo probably didn't even know he would sacrifice himself until it happened. That's what made the moment special. That's also why, despite all the attempts in the movies to replicate the magic of this moment, it always falls short, because we already know Piccolo cares about Gohan by this point, so they're really just going through the motions. This is also how I feel about Zoro's sacrifice for Luffy. His actions feel like a result of his character, and not a change in his character.